All right, guys, another couple of days have passed in free agency. We've had the 2nd and 3rd of July, and we just thought we'd run through some of the new signings. We've had a couple of the big ones finally drop, which is awesome. So yeah, let's take you through what's happened in the last couple of days.
Yeah,
We've got Anthony Beauvillier um, signing with the Washington Capitals, re-signing with the Washington Capitals, 2 years at 2.75. This is an interesting one for me, Jaden, because I have really rated him at times, and then I've been like, oh, maybe I really overestimated you. Um,
that's been pretty
so
much
I'm
his
not.
career. So
Yeah,
yeah, it,
yeah. I feel like he sort of shows some glimpses because you look at his playoff stats from last year with the Capitals. 6 points in 10 games, 2 goals. That looks pretty good. But his performance with like Pittsburgh and the other teams, sort of over the last couple of years, have been really poor since he left the New York Islanders. Because I thought it was a great pickup by Vancouver at first, when they got him, but yeah, he's just not really hit the ceiling that I thought he would. But he gets a couple of years at Washington Capitals to sort of prove himself, I think. And I think at that cap, it's kind of a risk that it's probably not too bad to take.
nah, it's a decent cap for a player like him who can outperform. And Washington did a little gamble with a few players last year, and it worked out. So it's kind of the same thing this year. Um, Moving on to the probably the biggest one of the day and the free agency of the last past 2 days. Nikolaj Ehlers, 6 years, 8.5 million, going to Carolina. So moving on from Winnipeg, going to Carolina, two teams in cup contention, and I guess he found it better going to Carolina. Yeah, I guess the Metro and just the East gets stronger and stronger, but I don't know. It's pretty safe contract. He is 29, so that goes to his 35. So it's not like he goes to 37 if it was 7 or 8 years. So not a bad contract, considering his
Yeah,
production.
yeah, with the cap going up as well, like I feel like 8.5 for a bloke that, regularly scores 60 points a season. Um yeah, I feel like that's going to age well. He performed pretty well in the playoffs last season as well in the games that he played. Obviously, he was out for a few as well, but yeah, like I mean, if he if it wasn't free agency, would he get 8.5? Probably not, but I feel like it's what Carolina needs. I don't feel like it's too much of an overpay. Everyone was saying around this number, even 9 million. So yeah, I think for the biggest sort of fish in free agency with Mana sort of going before it opened, yeah, I think it's a great deal for Carolina, and they're bolstering their forward packs. Although the defensive packs seem to sort of all be leaving.
Mm. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting if Carolina can reproduce what they've been doing in the past few seasons,
Mm.
considering they're
And
almost going Toronto-like, where it's all top heavy and there's no D. Though they
yeah,
got
well,
Miller and stuff, but yeah.
yeah, they did in the trade, but yeah, speaking of one of those defenders that they lost, Dmitry Orlov signed a 2 year, $6.5 million contract with the San Jose Sharks. Now I can understand why the Canes didn't re-sign him at that price. I think if it wasn't for the Sharks, I don't think he would be sort of getting that sort of number. Not that he's a bad defender at all. I think Dmitry Orlov's a really good defender. I just think, yeah, like I don't think he's quite worth that amount of money at the age he is. Um,
I think it's a
but
great signing for San Jose.
oh, great
It's
signing
two
for the
two
Sharks,
years.
hundred
It
percent.
doesn't hurt them at all,
No,
and they get a proven 20-minute um, defensive eater who can help develop and train the younger guys, and it will help catapult them into more playoff contention in regards to getting
mm.
there. So I
Oh,
think it's a very
100%
decent,
great signing.
yeah. And
Yeah,
money is not a big thing for these
no,
bottom end Pacific teams, and
yeah, I just see why the Canes didn't sign him for that amount of
yes,
money because like putting that amount of money into Orlov would sort of, yeah, it wouldn't have left them with much, and putting that amount of money in a 33-year-old,
It's only 2
yeah, I
years
just
though, so it could have been
it
worth the
is,
risk if they managed the cap somehow. But yeah,
yeah, but I think they would have preferred to bring in someone like Ehlers over keeping someone like Orlov.
mm.
There's one player that they did lose, which we'll get to soon enough, but that one didn't really make sense to me. But yeah. Anyway,
All right, Mason Appleton. I actually quite like this player. 2 years, 2.9 mil, going Detroit. Detroit get good depth here, and look, 2 years at his age, this is not a bad contract at all. I've always liked him. He doesn't produce overly fantastically. He's never scored over 20 goals, so to say and stuff. But he is a good depth piece. So for 2.9 mil, he'll eat up 15 minutes. I like it, and
yep.
I think it's kind of what Detroit needs is these type of players for these type of contracts. So I think it's a smart move here.
Yeah, I think like we said about the Connor Brown signing with the Devils, probably a little bit more than what they're worth, but
Yeah,
again, with the cap going up, they're short-term contracts. Um, it's not you can bury it, if it goes wrong, you can get rid of that contract. It's not that hard. Worst case, you wait out 2 years. So yeah, I think it really bolsters that bottom six of theirs. And they get a reliable player, who's also really responsible, two way. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Fantastic signing for them. Um, Now this one, Brent Burns signs with Colorado Avalanche for 1 year at $1 million. Now I got the Orlov thing, and I don't know if it's Brent Burns wanted out of Carolina and chose to go to Colorado, or if it's Carolina didn't want Brent Burns anymore. But for $1 million, with the amount of defenders that Carolina have lost and how good that defense has sort of held them in the playoffs and playoff contention for so long, I find it strange that they just, yeah, shipped him out so easily. I'm
Yeah.
assuming
Nah,
Brent
I
Burns was
think
the
it's
one.
purely he wanted to go, and
Yeah.
he wanted to go to a cup contender, like a true born cup contender with McKinnon, Makar, and whatnot that he feels like would propel him. Because he's been at
It
Carolina for a few years now with same
hasn't got
teams,
there.
if not better teams than what they may have this year, and it hasn't got there. So I think it's smart. It's not like he was going from a good team to a little bit worse team. It's like from cup contender to cup contender. So
Yeah.
smart move, and you get to play along Makar and all the decor there. And I would
Oh,
say they have
100%.
a better goaltending tandem now than
Mhm.
Carolina have too.
So what do you think that's saying to the Carolina fans right now? Like a big slap in the face. Like, sorry guys, I just don't think that Carolina can get it done. I'm going over to Colorado.
Yeah, it could be like a defeatism thing as well, where you've done it for the same group for 3 4 years and always struggling
And
at the hurdle. I think it's smarter as well because obviously you're looking at Florida and going, okay, this team's insane. I have better
mhm,
chances meeting them in the Stanley Cup final and going through the West than going
then
through the
going through
East.
the East. Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
then fight them when they're the most beaten up. Um,
yeah.
so
And
yeah, like
at 40,
I had Colorado and Dallas as the two going to the Stanley Cup final,
mhm,
and both of those they fought each other in round one. So
yeah,
they had a round
yeah.
one exit, but it doesn't make a round one
Uh,
exit.
as Rantanen said, after they beat Colorado in the in round one, you kind of have the big dogs face off against each other in round one with this playoff format.
Yeah,
And yeah, like yeah, it doesn't make sense, but that's for another video or another time. We could go
yeah.
on and on about that.
There's only a few
Let's
more
go.
people to go through now.
To go through, yeah, I know there's
Yeah,
not too much action, is there? This has been one of those free agencies where it's just been lackluster,
yeah. That's why
which
you're gonna.
hopefully means that there's going to be a heap of trades to go through in the coming days,
I don't
which would
think
be
heap of
amazing.
trades, but I think you'll see bigger names because, especially
Yeah, like,
defenders are going to be more prime, and
hmm,
so they're gonna, even though the player probably doesn't warrant it, they're gonna warrants more package in the trade. But
yeah,
in regards to players
and
here, we're just Morgan Frost, 2 million, 4.375 to Calgary. Decent. He's 26 years old. Um, I like it, and Calgary needs to start building that pool again because they keep seem to trading out some good players and then they go on to do things. So
yeah,
I like it,
yeah,
and they still need to keep building there, get back into the playoffs.
yeah, and he's a good depth piece.
Mm,
Which he'll fill out that middle six relatively well. He's young, 26 years old. Yeah, I think it's a great signing for them, keeping their sort of, we shouldn't say trade deadline pickup. It was just one of those trades, but yeah, it's a good signing from them. Next one, Cody Glass re-signs with the New Jersey Devils, 2 years, 2.5 million. Um, I
re-
like this for the Devils. There was rumors that they weren't going to actually qualify him, then they changed their mind, decided to qualify him. Now they've signed him for two at 2.5. You could argue it's a bit of an overpay for his
yeah,
production.
it's $1 million
Um,
overpay, but you'll
it
get.
is, but yeah, that's what it is at the moment. Unfortunately, he did have a really good start with the Devils last year, 7 points in 14 games when he came over. Um, he has shown glimpses of being that sort of um, third line center in the past. It's just whether or not can he get back to that. He is young, 26 years old, so $2.5 million. Same thing I said about Appleton. If it doesn't pan out, it's over before you know it, or you can bury it, or you can ship the contract off. It's not hard to get rid of. So yeah, I don't mind that for the Devils as a depth signing.
Yeah. Um, just no Emil Heinemann, 2 years, 1.1 mil, just another depth piece there. Extended.
After being traded.
Yeah. Um, Move on to Caden Korzak. Um, he got 4 years for
Mhm.
3.25 at Vegas. He's 24, so that takes him to UFA, and it's a decent signing in regards to the pay package that Korzak's going to get. So I don't know how I feel about it. Um,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
it's
neutral.
early.
Yeah.
It's early, isn't it? He's played 77 games in 4 seasons. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, look, I'm with you.
He only has the
It's
one goal.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a plus 15 last year, I guess, in 40 games. That's, you got to say something, but you're also playing for Vegas.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this turns out. That look, Vegas has been a ridiculously good franchise since they came into the league, so they clearly see something in him to sign him for that amount of money. So
Mm.
yeah, I guess you just wait and see. We've also got an Anthony Mantha signs a 1 year, $2.5 million contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins. This to me is just one of those things where I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are like, we need to help our bottom six or even our middle six. Um, this guy's a player who can put up goals, can has proven that he can score, has had a little bit of a shaky, last couple of years, um, especially with the injury. Let's just give him a chance, see if it works out, see if we can't help us get back to maybe a wild card spot. If it doesn't, flip him at the deadline for assets. If he can get himself back into form, I don't mind this from the Pens.
Yeah, it's no risk, all
Mm.
reward in a sense. But he's more than likely going to miss more than half the season with his track record. And so, look, it could be a piece that if he is healthy at the deadline and Pittsburgh aren't in a picture, that it is an asset to trade. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it is a decent asset that, zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6 points per game, if he did stay
yeah,
healthy, is for 2.5 million really good. So
And he scores.
yeah,
It'd be a great deadline pickup for any cup contender, especially at that cap 2.5. Even if the Pens eat some of that contract, like yeah, I think that this is a good risk deal for the Pens to either potentially help them, perform better next season, or to just get some form out of him, flip him for assets. Like yeah, I think it's a good signing.
all right. And then Gustav Nyquist, player I've liked pretty much during his whole career, going to Winnipeg, 1 year,
Yep.
3.25. He's 35, so he gets a 35 plus contract. And look, no risk on this one. Winnipeg's still trying to build that Stanley Cup team. I feel like this helps. He's a very good player, and I feel like he's good depth. So this is very
Hmm.
good signing for Winnipeg and a smart move. It, you just
Yeah,
want him to play the
yeah.
whole season. That's the thing.
I, I mean, exactly. Like, it's crazy. You look at it. 2 seasons ago for Nashville, he almost went a point per game with Nashville. Phenomenal. And then the following season, he regresses a little bit. Um, only has 28 points in 79 games. Like, that's
With a bad Nashville, let's be fair. It was a
yeah, with a bad Nashville. But I feel like that sort of summed up his career a little bit. Some good, some bad. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's worth the risk for Winnipeg. They need that sort of depth scoring. Um, with the cap going up again, this is just one of those things where it's for a year. They have the cap to spend. You may as well take that risk on a player that is proven to be a goal scorer, a point getter. Like he's been good for
mm,
teams in the past and for playoff teams in the past. So yeah, well worth that contract for sure. And worst case, he gets injured, they put him on LTIR, they pick someone at the deadline. So not too worried about that contract.
yep.
Um,
Only 2 or 3
but
more contracts to go through now.
yeah, I was gonna say who else do we got here? It's kind of thinning out. Taylor Radish signs with the New York Rangers, 2 years at 1.5.
Depth
I mean,
piece. It's
yeah,
save
that's really all
contract
you can
depth piece.
say.
Yeah,
27 points in 80 games for Washington last year. If you pay him 1.5 mil for 27 points on your third or fourth line, it's a good signing.
yeah.
Like that's pretty much all I can say.
Then you've got Elmer Soderblom, Detroit, 2 years extension, 1.125. Once again, it keeps him in the RFA status. It's also just very cheap, no risk. So I can just see if he develops into what they were hoping he was going to be.
Yeah, because
Uh,
he's a beast, man. He's a man mountain.
mm.
He's an absolute unit and a wrecking ball.
Sometimes
Um,
size doesn't matter, but
oh shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, fair. But I mean, look, 11 points in 26 games last season. If he can just stay on the ice, stay healthy, Detroit could have 2 years of an absolute beast of a player out there on the ice, even if he's just a third or fourth line, almost enforcer at that size. I mean, he's 6'8" for crying out loud, 112 kilos. You wouldn't want to run into him on the ice, that's for sure. But yeah, look, 1.125, you can't really go wrong, can you?
nah.
If he doesn't perform, he doesn't play. It
And
doesn't really matter.
the last contract, 2 years,
Hmm.
another small term for a 29
Yeah.
year old, 4.125 million. Piers Suter going to St. Louis. What are your thoughts on that one?
It depends. I mean, if St. Louis get out of sort of what Vancouver got out of him last season, brilliant. If he goes back to the years prior, it's probably a big overpay. So it's just going to come down to what sort of performance it was last year. A breakout year for him was that the player he's going to be going forward, or is he going to regress back to that 20 point 10 to 20 goal scorer? I mean, he is a goal scorer. You look through his years, 14, 15, 14, 14, 25. So He can put the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah.
The
My
question
concern
is,
with these players is that like 3 out of his 5 is he has more goals than assists, and those players generally struggle um, if they don't have a playmaker on that line.
yeah,
So
which which lines he going to play
yeah,
on?
so he has to play on a
Where's he going
playmaking
to play?
line, and that's up to St. Louis to do the smart things and try and get that him working. Um,
Well,
because
they've got
a
him
play,
on the second. They've
yeah,
got him a second line C at the moment with Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway. So, I mean, Kairou's one hell of a player, but there's been big rumors that he might be on the way out anyway.
yeah.
Um,
I'm just saying
so
you got to
yeah,
put the right personnel around him to get the maximum value. And if they don't do it, and we've seen a lot of coaches in the past mismanage players and play them in the wrong positions or not with the right people. So
yeah,
I'm just hoping St. Louis are smart about it.
yeah. I think the saving grace here is it's 2 years and the cap's going up so rapidly. Like the cap's going up more than this contract this year and next year. So like it's going to be erased pretty quickly. And if he performs well, it's either going to put St. Louis into a potential playoff position, or it's going to have people after him going, well, do you want to trade him at the deadline? So
It's a great asset for a deadline trade. Great
yeah,
asset.
100%.
So
As long as he
very smart
performs.
signing. Very smart signing.
Yeah,
All right. Oh, that's everyone. That's a very small list. Not many big contracts. We talked about
yeah.
the big ones at the start. Yeah, let us know what you think. If what team was one of these teams that made these signings. If you're happy or sad these players came to your team or re-signed with your team. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out our other content. But till next time, catch you guys.
See you guys.